Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Crimson and in this video we are going to be continuing our look through of the Art of Doom Eternal. Now it has been quite a while since I recorded part 1 of this book. However, with the release of Doom the Dark Ages, which actually just came out today, or at least the day that I'm recording this, I thought that I should continue the Doom series just because I'm in a
Also, just before we get started, one thing that I want to add is in part 1 I said that I owned the Prime 1 Doomslayer statue, and I did not put the picture in the video, so I am going to put the picture up right here. And this statue is massive. I have lots of Prime 1 and sideshow figures, and this one is easily the tallest. It is huge. I believe it's something like 40 inches tall or something.
But yeah,
anyway, let's get into the book.
Where we left off. So I believe we covered the first 2 chapters in part 1. Let me get rid of my handy dandy bookmark. Yeah, I believe we covered the first 2 chapters, which were mainly to do with different types of enemies, about their lore and about their designs, which I personally really enjoyed. But anyway, Chapter 3, Cursed Worlds. Following the blackout between Earth and Mars-based UAC facilities, UAC Director Samuel Hayden returned to Earth to aid the Allied nations and coordinate efforts against the Hell invasion, with the majority of the population dead within the first month. A catastrophic failure of virtually every man-made system followed. Military responses proved only marginally effective at providing a safe retreat to civilians, with many fortified locations cut off from the outside communication. Facing overwhelming opposition, these makeshift fortresses have fallen to the growing demon presence presence one after another. Although several 100,000 survivors are believed to have been safely evacuated out of orbit in the exodus following the invasion, the odds of survival are considered to be low on many of the lifeboats carrying the cryogenically frozen passengers. With Earth on the brink of destruction, swarms of demons scour the planet, held back only by the few bastions of human civilization. The remaining population of Earth, those regions not yet consumed by Hell, continue to fight a brutal war with each passing day in a desperate struggle for survival. Hayden, intent on repurposing the UAC facilities on Earth and establishing a last line of defense against the invasion, works with the Allied nations to form the ARC, a global military crisis relief initiative. So that's our little introduction to this chapter. And the artwork here is stunning, as always, for Doom. So we have a picture of, I'm assuming that this is Hell. It's either Hell or Earth during the Hell invasion, but I'm assuming that this is Hell. We have all kinds of different demons here. We have a Kaka demon up here. Everything's on fire. There's bits of fire raining from the sky. I think this is actually a hell priest or something. It looks like it's... I actually can't tell what that is, but it looks alive and demonic, so I don't like it. Anyway, next page. So we have some more art here, and again, I can't tell if this is Earth or Hell. We have some structures such as this building and this building here, which kind of look man-made, but at the same time then we have like this very tall obelisk-looking structure, which looks very, demonic. So I don't know if this is Earth or Hell, but during the invasion, I don't think it really matters, to be honest. We also have just a pool of lava pouring down here. Really cool. The art of this game's environments, both in the art itself and the game, is incredible. Anyway, let's read what it says down here. So, it says, Hell on Earth. The forces came to Earth without warning, given bloody passage by UAC Cultist Division. They descended upon the planet with fire and brimstone. The global defense response was immediate as the conflict escalated into total war overnight. The military forces of Earth waged battle against the invading forces, united against their common enemy in what would prove to be a bloody, relentless fight for survival. Chaos enveloped the planet as human civilization unraveled, with the death toll reaching into the billions within the first month. Earth's response coalition deployed advanced mechanized armored exo-infantry and battle mechs, but nothing could defeat the onslaught of the Undead Legion. Whenever I hear Undead Legion, I just can't help think about Dark Souls 3. Anyway, pretty cool. It really just goes to show in these little snippets that just how screwed humanity was without the Doomslayer if he just decided to, not show up. But, thankfully he did, and because he did, we got an amazing game. Okay, let's continue. And before we actually dive into things, I just want to quickly say one thing, and I am genuinely sorry about this. The pictures in this section all have these little kind of one-line descriptors of what they are down at the bottom. Normally this would be fine, however, currently I am experiencing some blurred vision from lack of sleep. So I will do my best to read what it says, but in case I miss one or anything, it's just because I didn't see it and all that, and I'll try to come back in post when my vision's a bit better and continue. But anyway, let us just get right into this beautiful, beautiful game. So first off, we have Hell on Earth, which is, I believe this is meant to be the first mission. So we can see the streets are split. Looks like there's rivers of blood everywhere. There's buildings collapsing. I can't tell if this is a structure or if this is like a massive demon. And then we have some ghouls walking around the streets with just a destroyed car and everything. And also the sky is red, because what is a demonic invasion without a red sky? I mean, like, what? Next, we have a picture of a train. So this is, I believe we enter this train in the first mission. By the way, it has been a very long time since I've played Doom Eternal. It's been like 2 years, so I'm just going off memory. But yeah, so I believe that this destroyed subway train we go through at some point. And here it just shows the slow degradation of it. Actually, it's probably not slow, it probably happened like almost instantly. But this is it normally, and this is it post-demon invasion. So I'm gonna start with the top one. That looks like it says right here, it's a gore nest interior. Pretty nice. And then underneath we have the gore nest exterior. So the gore nests, if I remember correctly, and I may be wrong about this, so if I am, please let me know, the bits in Doom where you can activate to do essentially a bit of a challenge to like do something like, I don't know, kill 10 enemies with 3 bullets in 10 seconds or something like that, something crazy. And they get progressively harder and harder, and you get a reward for doing them. Really cool. I always like them because they're just these gross, bulbous amalgamations of flesh with eyes and stuff protruding out everywhere. It's great but horrific at the same time. And we also have an eclipse in both pictures here. Anytime I see an eclipse, I just think of Berserk. over on the right here, we have the Gore Nest ideation. So this looks like a Gore Nest that is very similar to the final product that we got in the game itself. We usually have to, either rip something out of one of these. Moving on. So here we have, this looks like some kind of restaurant of something. Oh no, it's a bank, I apologize. So this is the exterior and interior of a bank, which is interesting. I don't remember seeing a bank in Doom Eternal. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe this is just concept art of like how the city got destroyed. I have zero memory of a bank in Doom. That's weird. Maybe it's just been too long since I've played. Here we have the Gore key ideations. So these are the keys and stuff for the Gore nests, and how to actually activate them. They again look like these pods of they almost look like a corrupted dragon fruit, especially this one right here. Looks like someone left a dragon fruit out and it just rotted. But yeah, I really like all the different concept arts that we see here. Like this one is a lot more spinal. The spines on the side of it. We have some that are egg-shaped, some that are full-on just spheres like this one. Really, really cool. Next up, we have the Argent Tower. So you can see the Argent Tower stretching up into the sky. Really foreboding looking architecture, and I really love it. And then underneath here, we have some more pictures of, I believe, it's hard to differentiate between between hell and Earth being invaded by hell. And then over on the right page, we have some pictures of some of the automated turrets. So these are used, by the UAC to deter demons. Obviously, they don't work since we have to come along and obliterate the demons. They are cool designs, though. I like the look of them. The kind of square-esque theme. They almost remind me of the cubes from Portal. I know that's a weird comparison, but that's the first thing I thought of when I saw them. And then you have the guns actually mounted in the middle of them, which is really cool. Very creative way of doing a science fiction gun turret. So, according to what it says below, these are all different parts of the interior of the Argent Tower. So, this is the top, this is like the bottom, and then over here, actually no, sorry, So, according to these images are pictures of the interior of the Argent Tower. And then over on the right-hand page, we have the tower entrance as well as the tower interior again. So I'm assuming this is the entrance here, and then this is the interior with their core inside of it. Really cool. The Argent Tower is probably one of the most recognizable pieces of architecture in Doom. Well, okay, so here's an amazing picture. So we have this amazing double spread of Samuel Hayden with the Crucible. The Crucible is this sword, by the way, leading some of the ARC soldiers. And you can see that there is a lot going on in this picture. So we have Hayden here, all the soldiers, and then this massive mech here, and then a tank. And it just, what I like about this is it just goes to show how big Hayden is, because Hayden is large when we play Doom, and we're playing as the Doomslayer. So like to see how tall he actually is compared to a standard human is crazy. Really good image. This would actually make for like a really good poster or something, I think. Anyway, let's continue. So here we have a picture of, I believe this is Phobos, one of the moons of Mars, but let's read what it says. Actually, yeah, it says Phobos right there, so I am indeed correct. Okay. Originally established as a mining and communications relay, the UAC outpost on Phobos began immediate expansion following the destruction of the Argent facility on Mars. The UAC board of directors, intent on retaining their control of the Red Planet and its surrounding airspace, began the construction of an expansive defense platform. Using technology derived from the BFG 9000, the design plan called for a massive particle cannon to be built on the orbiting moon. The result was the BFG 10,000, the largest man-made weapon platform ever conceived, wielding enough firepower to defend even the most sophisticated capital-grade FTL cruiser in existence, or against the eventual possibility of a space-bound demonic threat. So that's cool that they used the moon as like essentially a mobile orbital death ray. Really cool idea. It would be a shame if someone, used it to launch themselves into the Martian surface, but no one would ever do something like that. Okay, let's continue. So this is on Phobos. So we have the interior and exterior of the Phobos base, as well as the BFG 10,000 here, which is the upgraded version of the BFG 9000. BFG, of course, standing for Big Friendly Gun. Really good weapon. It's okay, I guess, in the game. Anyway, let us continue. Next page. So here we have some more pictures of the interior of the Phobos base, but this is all looking like it is part of the BFG section of the base, or the silo, or whatever the proper name for it is. You can see the walkway leading up to it here, and then starting here and going through all here is the firing mechanism. So this is it kind of charging up, getting ready to firing, and then I'm assuming this one here is it actually firing. And then this is a POV from inside the cannon. This is, what the Doomslayer sees. Really, really cool. So this is the Phobos station hangar here. And then these two are of the control room. Lots of greens and grays in this base, I find. Maybe they themed it around the BFG, since that fires a green energy blast. But yeah, there's not really that many colors other than green and gray in the Phobos facilities. And then over on this page, we have a Mars picture of the Martian crater. It says here that this is the, the Mars core vista. So the, okay, so it's a vista of the Mars core. Gotcha, I'm very dumb. And then here is a destroyed UAC facility from when the Doomslayer shot the BFG into Mars and then shot himself into Mars. Am I skipping a page? No, I am not. So the next bit is the Mars core. So this is after we have shot it with the BFG. And you can just see how powerful this weapon is, that it doesn't just hit the planet and damage it and leave a small crater, that one shot from this thing is able to penetrate all the way through into the planet's core. And this artwork is beautiful. You can see the core being all red and hot. Obviously this is the impact zone here. You can see bits of, I'm assuming these are rivers of lava caused by the impact of the BFG. But yeah, this is a really cool picture. Again, would make for another good poster. A lot of the pictures in this book would make for great posters, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, next up we have the escape pod bay. So These are, I'm assuming these are on the UAC facility on Phobos when the crew get overwhelmed or are forced to have to evacuate. They get into a pod, I'm assuming, because I have zero memory of this. This is like the control panel where we see a lot of the office workers working when we enter their kind of command and control center in the game. I like the design of the pods themselves. They are fairly straightforward, but they're simple, the way you'd expect for a sci-fi escape pod, but they are executed well, and I like that. Okay, so next up we have a mech. So this is a mech here. Again, this is used by the humans, and I'm assuming the UAC, against the demonic invasion. And we can see here the height difference between the mech and the Doom Slayer, which is crazy because the Doom Slayer himself is massive. So we see a bit of the front and the back. If you have played the Armored Core games, specifically more recently Armored Core 6, these are this kind of mech reminds me a lot of the MT enemies, the muscle tracers. Maybe that's just me. Some people might say that it looks more similar to something from Titanfall, but personally to me, the first thing I thought of or think of whenever I hear the word mech is Armored Core. And then over here, this is just labeled a giant mech. So same kind of principle, except this is, oh my god, this is actually really funny. So here we have the Doomslayer size comparison with the mech, and then we have that mech size comparison with the giant mech. That's crazy. So it has this massive weapon in one hand. I can't tell what the weapon is. It looks maybe like a plasma weapon of some kind or a shotgun. But yeah, I really like it. I think these are some really well done mechs. So here we have a picture of what looks like to be in some kind of old castle type structure or building. And I can't tell if it's nighttime or if it's underground in a cave. I'm thinking that it's more nighttime rather than cave. While these do look like rocks, the lightning here makes me think that maybe they're just clouds. But anyway, let's have us a little read of what it says. So it says, Argent de Nur. For centuries, the Night Sentinels served as protectors and watchmen of the Sentinel realm. Oh, that's what this is. This is the Sentinel realm. Okay, that makes more sense. Their homeworld. Argent de Nur is a largely unexplored planet covered with sprawling, undiscovered, and uninhabitable regions. Overrun with fearsome beasts and primordial evils, Argent de Nur is a place rich people with desirable resources. Overrun with fearsome beasts and primordial evils, Argent de Nur is a planet rich people with desirable resources. The only peace known to the Sentinel people was one forged for them themselves and guarded with vigilance. It was this way for the Sentinel people since the beginning, a way of life that changed suddenly and irrevocably with the appearance of the race, calling themselves the Makers, bringing them to the promise of technological gifts and temptations of the afterlife. The Makers gradually integrated themselves into Sentinel society, altering its traditions, and in time threatening to redefine its prevailing power structure. The Makers, coveting the power of the Argent energy, which they believed to be indigenous to Hell, sought to drive the Sentinel people into war to claim this boundless resource.
The culmination of these events was a bloody civil war between desperate factions of Sentinel tribes, one that would eventually leave the world of Argent Denua fractured and in ruin. Okay, so that is what we are looking at. So this is Argent Denua here, probably after the war and after it's been abandoned and blasted into a ruin. Kinda sad, because the place looks really nice. Okay, so moving on. Next, we have the Sentinel battlefield. Actually, let me just move the camera a little bit closer. There we go. So here we have the battlefield. You can see that there's ruins everywhere. It looks like there's remains of mechs, especially one of the larger mechs here that we see in the DLC. And then over here we have some more Sentinel architecture. We have a door here and a hallway. Next, we have this amazing picture of all of these. It looks like they're stained glass pictures. So these are Sentinel stained glass and Sentinel reliefs. So this is the relief up here, this painting with the angelic figure with the wings. And then these are all of these stained glass right here. Really cool. I can't remember if these are actually shown in games, but whenever games do include little bits like this, I always tend to just really appreciate it. Over here on the right-hand page, we have the King's Throne. So presumably this is the Sentinel King, and we have the throne here. This looks like the throne room, with I think that's actually the throne there. But here's a picture of the throne. So we have the chair, it has some spikes on it, and two braziers on either side. So next we have up here, this is the Sentinel City. Again, it looks really cool. The architecture is pretty nice. And then down here we have yet another picture of the throne room. So this is the walkway where someone would walk up. Here's the throne. I like these kind of two pillars on either side of the throne. I don't know why they didn't put those in this picture. I think that would have been cool, since they obviously did add them. But anyway, it doesn't matter. They're there, and that's all that matters, because they look cool. And there's these what look like windows looking out over the city, I am presuming. Now this page has some interesting stuff. So at the top we have a power room. Actually, let me just zoom in a bit so you guys can see a bit more. We have a power room. Then in the middle we have what is called the Slayer Creation Room. So I'm assuming this is where they created the Slayer, maybe, or where the Slayer was created. I'm not super sure. Wow, okay, now this is a really cool page. So this is our hub. So it's listed as the hub control room. And then we have the map room here, as well as the hangar here. But this is the Doomslayer's ship in Doom Eternal. So this is where we start the game. This is where we are in between missions. We can upgrade our stuff here. We can explore and find secrets. As far as hubs go, this one is top notch. There's so many secrets, so many little like just hidden goodies scattered around the place. And what's cool is you can't access them all from the start, that you have to come back later in the game once you've unlocked certain abilities. And yeah, really cool. I really like the fact that the Doomslayer has a ship and the ship's design as a whole. Okay, so here it looks like we're back in the Sentinel realm. So we have, I think that's like a statue of a Sentinel there. And then here we have the exterior of a Coliseum. Okay, so here we have some more, I believe these are arenas. Yeah, these are arenas. So the one on the top is the icon of Sin Arena. The middle one is just titled Arena. and the bottom one is the Mars core. So this is a, it looks like it's a teleporter that leads directly to the core of Mars, which is a very, very cool concept. Then over here on the right, we have a maker case. So I'm not sure if the maker is actually still inside it, but either way it looks cool. And we have a jump pad here. So these are used throughout the game to kind of like launch yourself to different locations. Very video gamey thing. And then over here we have a blood pouch altar. Quite cool. I do like the contrast between the kind of dark blues and greens of the Sentinels versus the reds and oranges of the Makers and Hell. Okay, so these are cool. Okay, so these are some concepts for 2 different types of Sentinel mechs, and they come in all different types of designs. So we'll start with the left page. So first off, we have this guy here who looks like he has some kind of power fist, or something going on with his wrist. This guy looks like he has a massive gun grafted to his right arm, but at the same time he has a comically small left arm. Sorry, I don't know why, but the sight of this giant mech with this tiny arm, to me, is really funny. And next we have this guy who is holding the Crucible sword. So here's the sword, and then the mech. The mech almost looks like it has horns. We have this quadruped with a massive gun on its back. And then this one, which doesn't have any melee weapons, but has 2 cannons mounted on its back. Again, seeing this reminds me a lot of Armored Core. And then over on this page, these almost look like mechs that are based on the Marauder enemy. I know that they are mechs of the Sentinels, but just with the red axe and everything. So this guy, he has the red power axe, which is massive, as well as having the twin guns on his shoulders. So both devastatingly lethal at long and close range. I really like these mechs, and especially the concept art. So here on the left, we have a hub exterior. So this is the outside of the Doomslayer's ship/fortress, because it kind of doubles as both. On the right side of the page, we have the Unmaker case inside of the hub. So this is the case here, and you can see the Slayer is right here standing next to it. And then below that, we have just a picture of a skybox. So this, I believe this is meant to be Earth while it's being sieged by the demons. As you can see, there are pentagrams and other demonic symbols being kind of carved into the surface of Earth with the fire from the demonic invasion. So let's continue. So this is Urdak. So let's see, Urdak, depending on how you say it. Let's read what it says. So Urdak. Urdak is the floating capital city of the Maker race, a hub of transcendent technology. All of Urdak is powered by a purified form of Argent energy, an energy source that is considered sacred to the Makrim scripture. Prolonged use of Argent energy has transformed the Makers, evolving their shared consciousness over time. In Maker legend, Urdak itself is considered a living being, made of the souls of Makers past. According to the legend, in the beginning, there was only one Maker, the Father, who, upon his death, fractured his soul into 100 sentient pieces, creating what would become the first Maker society. So that's kind of cool. It's just a little bit of maker lore. And then we have the hub here. As you can see, the architecture is very alien, so it makes sense. You know, there's some makers walking around. Really cool piece of concept art. Alright, let's continue. So here on our left page, we have a couple of things. These are all to do with maker architecture, by the way. So the first one, this is labeled the Emerson tongue. I'm not sure what that is, but it looks cool. So on the left here, we have some more examples of maker architecture. We have this piece with some towers. This one looks like kind of an outside view of the station itself. And then here is a door. This door actually looks very similar, to me at least, to the Forerunner doors in Halo 4. Maybe that's just me, but that's something that comes to mind when I look at them. I do prefer these doors though. These look cool, especially with like this red laser effect going on. And then over on the right page, we just have nothing specific, just some more examples of maker architecture. So we have some statues, you know, this piece, there's a standalone statue here, and then this one with 2 figures here, and then 2 figures there. And yeah, let's continue. So this is, let me hold it up so you guys can see. This is a maker stasis chamber. So this is obviously where they put themselves in for to go into stasis for a long period of time. We can see a maker here. Really like the design of them. He's looks like it's holding some kind of staff. Not sure what it is, and it also has this kind of yellowish glow emanating from it, almost like a halo. Really cool. I really like all the subtle details, like the technology with these projections coming out of this piece here. We have some more stuff up here, very similar. Really cool piece of art again. So that's, overall, this is probably my favorite piece of art we've come across so far in this video. And for the next page, so here we have a couple of things. So we have a maker wall, a maker console, which are these 2 things, and then we have a maker rune. So these are them down here. And then over on the right page is probably what everyone is focusing on right now. This is a maker archangel. Really cool design. Looks very artificial in nature. It has a vaguely humanoid shape. You know, it looks like it has, you know, a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, but it looks very mechanical in nature, apart from nothing, it just looks mechanical. And it also has those same kind of golden holograms coming out of it that we saw in the stasis chamber room. Okay, so let us continue. So next up we have this page with, it says, the Cultist enclave. So actually let me zoom out, sorry, it's a bit too close. So I just need to pull the book a little bit closer just so I can read it. Okay, so it says, Cultists enclave. Following the events on Mars, the UAC splintered into competing factions. In their search to tap into Hell's dimension, the secret research division of the UAC responsible for the study of the experimentation into Hell would in time become drawn to its power, opening the pathway to evil. Corrupted by Hell's influence, they united and broke from the UAC, establishing their own presence on Earth. It's the earliest roots of the underground Lazarus facility. This secret facility is founded in the occult, quickly mutated into a cult of ritual sacrifice and blood offerings to ancient demonic gods. Consumed by evil, the cult's followers had become living shells, human vessels for Hell's bidding, ultimately answering directly to the commands of the elusive hell priest Urdak. Interesting. So I'm assuming that this picture here is the Lazarus facility. Actually, no, it just says cultist altar, but we can see that there's a massive kind of hologram of a demonic figure. Maybe that is Urdak, but I'm not quite sure, as well as some more holograms around the side. And then all of the red-robed cultists praying to it. It wouldn't be a satanic cult without some good fashionable red robes. Anyway, let us move on. So the next thing we see, we have a couple of things. So we'll start at the top. So at the top we have the cultist entrance. In the middle we have the cultist train yard. And in the bottom it says the cultist interior. So this is, I'm assuming, one of their bases, and it just kind of goes to show that for a, a quote-unquote cult, they actually have some very impressive infrastructure. This isn't just like, a couple of guys who are worshipping Satan. No, this is like a full-on organization with money and power and resources to build these things, which is even scarier than just, normal satanic cults. Over here on the right page, we have two things. So above, we see that this is the engine room, and below we have the death pit. I'm assuming these are both to do with the satanic cult as well. So the engine room obviously houses some kind of engine. I'm assuming this is said engine. I'm not sure what kind of engine that is, because I, one, know nothing about cars or engines, and two, I have no idea what this is meant to be. However, it does have a skull on it, so an engine with a skull is pretty cool. And then down here we have the death pit. So I'm assuming this is where they throw people that they've captured, or people who want to defect, or people they deem heretics. Your typical cult stuff. Next on the page on the left, again, we have a couple of things. So on the top, we have a crucified demon, and below we have the revenant possession room. Interesting. Sorry, let me move the book a little bit. So here we can see the crucified demon. Now, again, I'm not sure if this is a sculpture of a crucified demon that they made for their church, or if this is an actual demon that they crucified. I'm going to go with that this is something that they built, because I don't see why a cult that worships devils and Satan would crucify someone that they worship. Maybe I'm just reading a bit too much into it. And below we have the revenant possession room. So this is where I'm assuming the revenant demons come from. And this is kind of the room and process of which they become into those demons. He kind of looks like him here. Pretty cool. It is actually interesting seeing like how those demons came to pass and how they came to exist. So yeah, let's move on. So on the right page, we just have 3 pictures of the cult interior. So again, it just goes to show how big this cult actually is, with, these massive walkways and all this impressive stuff here. Again, I'm not quite sure what this is actually meant to be, but again, it has skulls on it, so anything with a skull on it instantly becomes 10 times cooler in my book. So, next up, we have the Art of Doom Eternal is what it says here. I'm not sure why it actually says that. I think that's because that's just the name of the book. That's not like, what is actually being shown. So what is being shown In the above picture, we have blood transport, and in the below picture, we have the drone maintenance. So I'm assuming that this picture is, or this up here is where they transport the blood of, I'm not sure, would this be the blood of themselves that they've sacrificed, or the blood of people that they have abducted to do rituals? Kind of vague, but it's interesting that it's vague. It just kind of leaves a little bit of, room for curiosity and speculation. And then below we have the drone maintenance. So this is obviously where they keep their drones. And yeah, again, a cult with a full-on drone system is quite terrifying. So next up, we have this right page, which looks really cool. So this just says simply cultist props, but we have a couple of different things here. So first off, we have the remains of a man who has been strung up on this kind of very advanced looking platform. We have this, I'm not sure what this is. This looks maybe like some kind of blade. I'm not sure what this is actually. Here we have a red ball with some spikes. It kind of looks like a mine to me. Maybe that's not what it is, but that's just the first thing I think of. And then down here, these are, I'm assuming, the blood storage things, because they are the exact same as what is shown here in the blood transport area. The blood transport area. So I'm assuming this is the containers in which they keep their blood. And yeah, again, it wouldn't be a Satanist cult without red lights on everything. It's kind of like, I assume that the cult's computers all have red RGB on them. Anyway, let us continue. So this just says cultist base ideations. I'm not quite sure what that means in regards to this picture. So we have this massive structure here. It's very spiky and angular. There's a skull here with a chain connecting to something. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but there is a coffin-like structure here with lightning in the background. So I'm not really sure what this is. I kind of wish there was a little bit more explanation into what this might be. But yeah, let us continue. So next up, we have another full page of dialogue. So I'm going to read it first before we get into the art. So this just says hell. So, bound by the forces of chaos, hell is unlimited by the boundaries of space, time, and dimensions. Hell is itself a living thing, an entity possessing certain undeniable sentience, as inverse image of the living world. Hell thrives on the destruction of life, and the greater the pain and suffering it inflicts onto the world, the more powerful it becomes. For all eternity, hell has been ruled by an ancient order of evil. 6 sovereign chapters, the 6 eldest demon gods, descendants of the 6 unholy bloodlines born from the primordial black heart. For an eternity, the nameless ones have brought treacherous, tormented, and war to other worlds, driven by an insatiable hunger to secure domination over the souls of the living. Many worlds have fallen to hell, each now bound to ruin, connected by a pathway of darkness transcending space and time. Very, very edgy. So this is obviously some kind of structure in hell. It looks like a very important place with the gates and the towers. You can see that there's a pentagram on this door here, and we have the Slayer standing in the midst, so I'm assuming that he's about to kick down that door and, you know, destroy everything inside, but that's just the Slayer for you. You know, you gotta love him. Next, we have this great picture here of another massive structure in hell. So this looks like it's a structure built around, if not part of, an active volcano. So it looks like this is either magma or energy being poured in or out of the mountain, it looks like. And then there's all these structures built around it with magma flowing out of it. So I'm assuming that this is actually magma 2 that they are harvesting it from to kind of decorate their little structure here. Looks really cool. Again, I really like the art of the places in hell in this book. So next we have the Tower of Babel, the Tower Entrance, and the Soul Extractions. So, okay, so this is the Tower of Babel. I apologize, I should have read it first. Sorry, let me zoom out a little bit. So this is the Tower of Babel here. Then over here we have the Tower Entrance. So this is where I'm assuming you would enter the tower. And then this is the Soul Extraction. So I'm assuming this is the chamber or the area in which they extract souls. I'm not sure. Maybe these white lights are meant to be souls. Maybe this is the souls of people. But yeah, very, very bad. And again, it has a skull with an open mouth. Very reminiscent of some old paintings of hell, which I think is a very nice touch. So this is the Hell Vista, which makes sense. You can see that it's a very nice portrait. Or sorry, not portrait. I can't think of the word. Is it landscape? It might be landscape, but I'm probably wrong either way. Of all the different structures surrounding this. So this is the Tower of Babel here again, with the energy coming out of it. Then here we have the Soul Pit. So I'm assuming this is where the souls of all of the people that have been sacrificed or killed by the cult or sacrificed themselves willingly to the cult end up. You guys might not be able to see it. Let me zoom in a little bit, but you can see that there's humanoid shapes in this pit. So I don't think they're alive. I think it's just meant to be like those are their souls. And then over here we have the torture chamber. So not much to say. There's not really a lot to go off in this picture, but you know, it's where they torture people. Wouldn't be a satanic cult without a wee bit of torture. Next we have the hall interior on top and the Hell Tower exterior on the bottom. So this is the interior of the hall, and then this is the tower exterior. Really nice. I really like this architecture. It doesn't look that hellish compared to the rest of what we've seen so far. It kind of looks a bit more Maker in origin, which I wonder if that's intentional or not. As well as this cauldron of green flame. Oh, sorry, not cauldron, brazier, I apologize. Next, we have the hell props. So again, these are just some more assets from hell. So we have a door with the pentagram that we've seen. We have some carts that are decorated with the writhing bodies of people. And then we have a wall with the same design. Next up, we have the Hell Barge Ideation. So this, I'm not sure what this is referring to. So the top 4 pictures here look to be ships. So I'm assuming that's what it means by barge ideation or barge. So these are obviously ships that go through hell. However, we also have these 3 creatures, which look very interesting. They look to have some kind of saddles on them, so I'm assuming that the cultists ride them, which is very, very interesting. And then over here on this page, we have a couple of things. So on the top left, we have the buff pod slash Emerson. Oh, sorry, no, that's the name of the guy who drew it. So top left is the buff pad, top right is the soul stream, and bottom is the hell structure. So we'll start with the top left, the buff pod. I'm not sure what that actually means. Maybe this is something that the cultists use to buff themselves or enhance themselves physically. Has a very cool design, very crucifix in nature. Has this glowing green aura with a skull at the center. Then to the right, we have the soul streams. This is obviously a stream of souls that I'm assuming are going down to hell. This reminds me a lot of the depiction of the souls being sent to hell in the Black Swordsman arc of Berserk. It wouldn't be a Crimson Art Book video without, one Berserk mention. So, I have to do my duty to, fulfill my quota. And on the bottom, we have it just says hell structure, which are these here. I'm not sure what these are meant to be, but they look very menacing and they look a lot more demonic than these structures, especially this one. Next, we have Chapter 5, Hurt 'em Plenty. So, let us get started with reading. So, as a result of the dimensional tethering enhanced by Samuel Hayden, the Doomslayer finds himself disarmed of his arsenal following the events of the Mars invasion. Although a weapon is only capable as the one who wields it, not all weapons are created equal. A blade of firearm forged from the hands of a sentinel is considered a sacred tool, personalized to suit the ability, style, and nuance of the warrior who will use it in battle. It is an honored tradition that a sentinel should never lose the weapon they are bestowed with, and it is only with great shame that a knight warrior is separated from his sacramental arsenal. With Vega's assistance, the Slayer performs an interplanetary renaissance. The Slayer performs an interplanetary reconnaissance to locate the lost arsenal that will reclaim the very weapons that served the Slayer in the Sentinel War against Hell. So I think this is going to be a chapter dedicated to weapons. I think so, at least, because we haven't really seen anything about the actual weapons of the game. Okay, so let's get us started on Chapter 5, Hurt 'em Plenty. Okay, yeah, so this is what I thought. This is to do with the weapons of Doom. So this is the chain gun shield mod. So here is the chain gun that we see in the game with the mod to have its shield. The weapons in Doom Eternal, I think, are really, really good. I don't think there is a bad weapon. My only criticism is I prefer Doom 2016 over Doom Eternal, just for the fact that with the weapons and combat in Doom Eternal, as amazing as it is, it seems like each weapon is meant to kill only one type of enemy, and if you use any other weapon to try and kill that enemy, the game kind of makes you feel like a fool. So I much prefer Doom 2016, where you could use essentially any weapon that you want to clear out areas, whereas Doom Eternal is like, oh, I see this demon, I have to switch to this gun. Okay, I see this demon, I have to switch to this gun. But that's just a personal criticism of mine. I still adore Doom Eternal and its combat. So over here, we have the chain gun turret. So this is the chain gun here. So this is the chain gun as it starts out in the game. It's a double-handed, almost like a minigun. But then one of the upgrades you can get for it is it turns it into like a mounted turret, which is really good for kind of having to mow down waves of lower level demons if you can find a good position, that is. The only downfall with this is it makes you stationary. And if you're playing on Nightmare like I do, being stationary is essentially a guaranteed death. We have this, which is the chain gun renders. So this is a double page spread of the chain gun from either side. Again, looks really good. It looks very futuristic, while also still kind of maintaining that little bit of realism, which I like. Especially for these kind of weapons, which are the UAC weapons. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So this one here, we have a couple of different things. So on the top, we have the heavy cannon. Then on the middle, we have the heavy cannon ideation. And then we have the heavy cannon, one of the mods for the scope. So, we'll start off with the top. So this is the heavy cannon here. It serves almost like a very high-powered assault rifle, if I remember correctly. I apologize if I'm wrong. So this is the heavy cannon. Sorry, the heavy cannon here. I can't remember exactly, but it looks very much like a shotgun here. Almost like a mixture between a shotgun and an assault rifle. I actually cannot remember this weapon in the game at all. But here we see two of the different mods that you can get for it. And then down here we have some of the scopes. I'm not sure if all of these are included in the game or just one, but I do like all of them, and I like how it actually shows not just the base weapon, but the other weapons, you know, after you have upgraded them. So next up we have the heavy cannon renders. So these are just some more renders of the heavy cannon. You can see that it has this massive chain magazine or belt-fed magazine going into it. Really nice. And we have some of the Doomslayer POV shots of him holding the weapon. Then next up we have the what's this called? The ballista, which is the top. The bottom is the ballista mods. So the ballista fires like a very kind of horizontal shockwave, if I remember correctly, and if I am wrong, I'm genuinely sorry. It has been so long since I've played Doom Eternal. Really good weapon, especially for clearing out crowds, but this is it. Here, as you can see, this is the perspective. It almost looks like a crossbow design in this picture here. And then here we have two of the different mods for it. Really, really cool. And then over here we have some ballista renders, just some more different pictures of it, with each of its mods included. Really, really cool. Next we have, I believe this is actually the combat shotgun, which is one of the, oh, it is the combat shotgun. I should probably read sometimes, it would kind of make me sound less stupid. Anyway, the combat shotgun is one of the first weapons you get in Doom Eternal. We start off with this kind of chain gun assault rifle. It's almost like a cross between an assault rifle and an SMG, and then this is our first shotgun. Really good, especially against some of the early game demons. Not so great in the later game. But the mods for it are really cool. If I remember correctly, So one of the mods here that it shows is that it comes equipped with a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher, and you can shoot it into a cacademon's mouth, and essentially have them swallow it, and it blows up inside them, leaving them open to a glory kill. As well as the other mod, which turns it into a revolver shotgun, which is so cool. There is a weapon like that in Warhammer for one of my armies, which I love. It's a revolver shotgun, and I absolutely love the idea for a weapon in science fiction. So here are some more pictures of the combat shotgun. But then over here is our next weapon, and my favorite weapon in the game, and I'm pretty sure everyone's favorite weapon in the game, the super shotgun. We see that the super shotgun and then the super shotgun ideation. So the super shotgun is a famous Doom weapon. It's probably the most iconic weapon in Doom. It is a double barrel shotgun that deals insane damage. Doom Eternal has it with a grappling hook, which means that you can hook it on to targets far away and zoom in and get right in their face. And I cannot stress enough how powerful this thing is, in case you have not played any Doom games. One of the mods for it is it turns the grapple hook into a, not a flamethrower, but when the grapple hook lands, it sets the enemy on fire. And in Doom Eternal, when you set enemies on fire, they drop armor. So it's very, very handy, especially not just for combat, but especially on Nightmare. When you are trying to zip around the map really quickly, you know, you can use it to latch on to a low-level demon just to kind of get out of harm's way very, very quickly. So next we have some of the super shotgun renders. So this is the super shotgun in all of its glory. I can't remember if I put the statue I have of the Doomslayer in part 1. If not, I'll put it in here. But the statue that I have has the, what's it called? The super shotgun. And then here you can see the grappling hook underneath it. Okay, let's continue. So next up we have the plasma rifle on the top, and then the plasma rifle heatwave mod. So this is the plasma rifle here that we get. The plasma rifle is one of my favorite weapons in Doom. It is great for taking out shielded enemies, very reminiscent of Halo. The heatwave mod essentially means that after you deal enough damage to enemies, you get this ability where you can vent all the heat, and it does this massive AoE attack on all the enemies around you. And then over here we just have some more plasma rifle renders. So here we have the rocket launcher render. Really good rocket launcher. It comes with a couple of different mods. One of them is that you can lock on to enemies, and the other is instead of firing one rocket, it fires multiple rockets, like multiple smaller rockets. It's not my personal favorite weapon, but it is very, very powerful. And then over here we have the rocket launcher, as well as the rocket launcher mods and the POV. So I'm assuming these are the mods here. This is the rocket launcher, and then these are the ideations, I'm guessing. Next we have the Unmaker. So, and the Unmaker ideation. So this is the Unmaker here. Really, really cool weapon. I love the design of it. Again, as the name suggests, it is Maker. So it definitely looks the part. And then over here we have the BFG 9000. Actually no, it's the BFG 10,000 in Doom Eternal, isn't it? It is really funny that the BFG literally means big. I don't want to swear on my channel, but it essentially means, it literally stands for big effing gun, which is just hilarious. So you can see it here. It is the most powerful weapon in the game. It has this really cool aura, this green aura pulsating out of it, and you shoot it into a room, and it will instant kill every single enemy in that room, and it travels for a little bit. So it is a good kind of last-ditch effort weapon if you are really stuck in an area. However, the only issue is ammo is extremely scarce. So next up we have the Crucible, as well as some different variations of the Crucible. So we see some of the different hilts here, and then on the top we see some different variations of how it could have turned out. This looks like so this is more of, instead of a sword made of energy, which we see here, this is the final result. This looks like a normal sword that kind of has been surrounded by that energy. Very cool, but this is infinitely cooler in my opinion. And then over here on this page we have some more Crucible ideations. So we see it slowly coming together. We see it's going from a sword surrounded by energy to an actual sword made of energy. We see two pictures of what looks like kind of an axe variation of it, and then here is the sword that we end up getting in the game. So that is it for that chapter. So next up we have chapter 5. Wait, was the last one not chapter 5, or was that chapter 4? I apologize. Okay, so anyway, the demon versus the Slayer. Within the hub of Doomslayer's chamber, Vega monitors quantum aberrations with great interest. As the forces of Hell and Urdak collide with the mortal realm, the tenuous order of reality begins to fragment, signaling the dawn of a new age. A new age of chaos. A dedicated portion of Vega's simulation matrix observes and records and analyzes these dimensional abnormalities as Vega attempts to comprehend their meaning. Processing a veritable kaleidoscope of hyperfluctual phenomena, Vega observes what may very well be the result of a multiverse imploding inward upon itself, where countless battles are fought between the Doomslayer and demonkind. To further explore this anomaly, Vega designs an onboard contextual interface, an interdimensional man-machine gateway that would allow the Slayer to engage in these kinds of skirmishes directly. As the Slayer enters the gateway, his surroundings take the form of an arena in tandem with the arrival of adversaries ready for battle. Seemingly extracted from his own experimental data, the opponents the Slayer faces are familiar but now transformed by some unseen force. And we have this picture here of the Doomslayer fighting a Marauder. Really, really cool picture. Now, I'm not going to be spending too much time on some of this because this has a lot to do with the multiplayer aspect of Doom, which I have personally never played. So next we have player customization. It says, in its analysis of the aberrations, Vega observes ephemeral distortions within the fabric of reality, scrambled reflections of the physical world. As the Slayer interacts with this anomaly, a peculiar ripple in the anomaly composition emerges, seamlessly reacting to the Slayer's presence reflexively. The anomaly reshapes itself, calibrating itself to the Slayer, responding to his memories, ancestral and memory data, before ultimately projecting itself into this onto the Slayer himself. So that's interesting. I did not know that the multiplayer actually had a canon reason for it. So here we have a picture of one of the skins in Doom Eternal of the undead Doomslayer. You can see the skull underneath his helmet. And over here we have a couple different more skins of the Slayer. So these are the zombie skin, and the Cultist Slayer skin, and the Maker Slayer skin. So this is the zombie, this is the Cultist, and then this is the Maker. Personally, out of these, I like the Maker the most. It reminds me a lot of some of the Spartans in Halo. I know I've said that a lot. The Cultist one is cool, but it's personally not my cup of tea. So next, we just have a couple of things we're going to go through really quickly. So these are just the podiums. These are the arenas your character stands in. So we have the Hell podium, the UAC podium, and then over here we have the Sentinel podiums, which are these two. So let's continue. So here we have a great picture of a Marauder. So this is the Marauder's. Sorry, at the top we have the Mancubus zombie skin. Then we have the Marauder zombie skin, which is really, really cool. And then below we have the Revenant zombie skin. So this is the Marauder here. This is just your standard Marauder. This is the Marauder skin, actually, sorry. And then these are the zombie versions of the Mancubus, the Marauder, and the Revenant. I don't know why they changed his axe to purple. Despite being a zombie, I wish it was still red. I always go with... I never play the multiplayer, but I do mess around with the skins and stuff that I unlock, and I always just pick the standard Marauder skin. So here we have the Pain Elemental zombie skin, which is this one. Then we have the Pain Elemental bands, which are these. So I'm assuming this is like the perspective shot. Then over here we have the top, which is the Duped Revenant skin. Looks very interesting, but also kind of weird at this. Oh, it's called the Duped because he has trumpets on him. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say it looks weird, but now it looks awesome. And then below we just have the classic Revenant skin. And then these are all of the different toy collectibles that you can find in the campaign. Not going to go through them all, so if you are interested, just feel free to pause the video. And that, everyone, is the end of the book. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I initially was not planning to make or release the Doom videos this early. However, with the release of Doom the Dark Ages, I just thought it was very fitting, and I absolutely adore this book. It is one of the most underrated art books out there, and I really hope the Dark Ages gets an art book. So thank you so much for watching. Your viewership means the world to me. This is the end of the video, so if you are listening to this while lying down or relaxing, I would turn the video off now. But again, thank you so much. My name has been Crimson, and have a good evening, and I'll see you guys in the next one.